You know, it's almost like your birthday with a package from China, so let's go. So what's going to be happening? You have the most coolest SEGA console that looks just amazing. However, you don't have like the clone shenanigan stuff that we have seen before. Having two controller ports like the original system. At the back we're having a lot of different connections, bringing this thing to completely different level when you're comparing this with original systems. We have over here a separate audio out channel, the original connections, and then the input for the power supply, the 9 volt that you need to buy separately. I do wonder if the previous owner did that. I think he implemented these very cool, let's say support feed. So what you're getting is they're going to be placing this on your desk. You can still slide it, but it's not like a freaking hockey puck. No, because that's something that's going to be happening a lot with these translucent cases. But this looks kind of cool, where it's not like this 100% see-through at the bottom, but we do have this at the top over there. But that makes this really cool and maybe one of the coolest SEGA you can buy, but it comes with a hefty price tag and also a little bit of a downside if you love the SEGA CD. There is no connection for the SEGA CD, so that is not possible. What would be fun is to check it out if you can slap it on 32 wicks. It's not going to be like the most beautiful thing to look at, but I think it's even possible, and particularly when it comes to the connection over here, because we do have the original connection, so we can use the link cable to connect and see if this is going to be working, because in the end this is actually based on original chipset of the Sega Genesis. But it would be fun to do a quick video about that. In here we're finding an on and off switch and then a reset button like your original typical Sega console. But at the side we do have ourselves two buttons, and they are for giving you a different region. On the PCB it also shows what kind of region you can actually use by pressing what button over there. So here you can see we can actually switch between, let's say, the Japan region, but also have over here the NTSC and the PAL. So a complete redesign of the PCB with brand new capacitors. This thing is ready to go for many years to come. Combined with the original chips, you do have the perfect Sega system, and it's going to be a lot of fun. If I need to say, there's something a little bit on the downside, that we don't have a dust cover. So we need to put in a game, otherwise this thing is going to be filling up with dust, and that's not going to be a good thing. So what we're going to be using today is just this very cheap power supply with the converter, and then we're going to be using over here the controller from Retrobit. Yep, the one I've been laying around using for many videos, and just a basic RGB, let's say, SCART cable. So let's get funky and let's do a quick comparison of what kind of games can we play and how does it work and how does it sound. So let's start off with the virtual racing game, and because this is original chips, you're going to be having no issues whatsoever when it comes to compatibility. And the signal output is absolutely great. Of course it depends what kind of cable you're using. So this is just a cheap, let's say, AliExpress RGB cable. I know if you're going to be getting into, let's say, the extreme, let's say, Sync and Luma and all the crazy stuff, yeah, you can order yourself like a $20 or $30 like freaking cable from my friend from the UK. It's absolutely amazing store, but nevertheless you're going to be paying also different prices. But if you really don't care about those things, you just want to play, this can be a very fun, cheap way to play when it comes to the cable. But moving on into this, there is no problem whatsoever. And everything seems to be working just fine. Audio wise, I'm just going to be honest, I don't really hear the difference, with the simple reason I'm not familiar with virtual racing. But only, I think the biggest downside to this particular device is that it comes with a hefty price point, but you will have something very unique when it comes to that. But everything seems to be working just fine. There is no aspect ratio option on the console itself, so that is something you need to change out in the monitor itself, for example. Moving on to the multi-cartridge, or at least the double cartridge of the Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and also this works without any problem whatsoever. And the sound is just perfect when it comes to that. No problem there. The game will sound a little bit slower than normal, and with a simple reason, because we're just using the PAL games now. Oh, I just realized this is already, I messed it up when it comes to that. So when it comes for gameplay, everything is just great when it comes to that. Moving on to a different region, let's use the first button over here. Let's power it on. It will show over here the same kind of LED. But in here, now we're having the different region ready to go when it comes to that. And we're having the full 60 frames per second when it comes to the game itself. Oh, I can tell you, like, if you have been playing this for a long time, I can't go back to the PAL craziness, but that is something personal when it comes to that. So moving to the favorite hack of the game, here you can actually see this cartridge has been developed for US in the North and South America. But it is kind of interesting to see because the switch is enabled when it comes to that. So what we maybe can do is turn it off, put the other switch in, and let's see what kind of message we're getting now. And now it seems to be working just fine. This is a great test if you want to check out if there's any problem with the region, but so far no problem whatsoever. And I must say that we should do like a maybe in comparison in the future when it comes to this system and the signal output. But in the end, like so many different ways to play when it comes to that. But I think this is a very amazing way, expensive way. Let's move on to a Japanese region game with some Darius. But so far I've been playing outside of the camera with some old school Sonic the Hedgehog, and I can tell you that I really enjoyed myself when it comes to that. With a simple reason, because it's so much fun to experience the old school games, and the visual part are absolutely outstanding looking compared to all of the weird clones. And again, like this is based on original chips, so that's the reason why it looks and sounds so great. They did an amazing job, so where you do pay a very hefty price tag for this, I can say that it is a very nice looking premium product. I want the red up, I want the red. Give me the freaking red ARP, thank you. So let's see if this Ultimate Mortal Kombat trilogy seems to be working, because I had some issues with a couple of those clone systems and some weird shenanigans going on, but everything seems to be working as it should be. And this is one of the many tests I always love to implement in my videos. So let's see what we're getting over here. So everything seems to be having no issues, so let's load up the game. Let's play with Goro. Man, this would be like the best game ever if you had like this in the 90s. And yes, we had trilogy on, let's say, the PlayStation 1 and 64, and I think it's even Sega Saturn. But how cool would it be if this was a game that was released after like Mortal Kombat 3 Ultimate? Oh my goodness, I always wanted to play with Goro. Let's see, how does that move again? But combining this with a flash card, that is just absolutely awesome. So this way we can just play the freaking full library normally. But we do get ourselves a selection error, so that's interesting to see. I think there's something to do with the freaking annoying SD card. Wouldn't it be the first time, this cheap crap. See, that's what I mean. Something wrong with it, but let's see, we can just load up a game if you want to. So shall we check what's inside of the chip already loaded up? I'm really curious what is going on. Okay, so there was actually a game booting up. And let's see, Outrun was loaded up in this.
Get ready.
But I was just listening to the soundtracks throughout the video games we're playing, and I don't hear any weird things going on. But you're getting the point, of course. But last but not least, then we're having the multi-game card. Yep. So what's kind of cool, we can actually check out. So we're having Japan PAL over here. So let's switch to a different region. We also can check it here. European PAL. Oh, that was crazy. European PAL. Oh, USA NTSC. Okay, so that's kind of cool. So in this way we can just fairly easy check if everything seems to be working as it should be. So this is kind of a cool multi-game card. What's kind of cool, that is a combination of all kinds of hacked games. So with the hack games, actually we're having all kinds of, let's say, cheat codes implemented. But we do have like Golden X2 with the enhanced colors, or that like that looks better. So what you can do is having some very cool like hacked already. This should make like an multi-game card of Street of Rage or some kind, with all of the kind of very strange hacked editions. That will be even cooler. But beside that, you should do a side-by-side comparison if you want to know the difference. It does look very nice when it comes to that.